Well guys, we are pretty much at the end of the season here at Black River Motorsports Park in Superior, Wisconsin. So you can see we got some of our sponsors that have banners up on the track right now. There's probably 2 or 3 times as many sponsors that actually have billboards out here to thank that have really helped us out this year. We've got a couple more little projects to do, but for now, what I'm gonna do this year is actually start taking down banners for the season. I'm gonna put them in storage so they don't get tore up over the winter, but we've come a really long ways in 1 year, and this year, 2023, was our first season. We did 8 or 9 autocross events out here from the prior year of 1, and before that 0 within a 2.5 hour area of the racetrack. So if this goes to showing you anything, it's that if you got an idea and you think it might work, you're gonna hit a lot of bumps along the way if you stick with it and you're sure it's a good idea. This place actually shows that it may work out and pay off. So anyways, people that have been here since the beginning know it's changed quite a bit. If you're new to the channel, I would highly recommend you go back and look at the first video of the track so you can get an idea of what it's like from now till, you know, 2 or 2.5 years ago and how much it's really changed. But while I'm working on these banners, why don't you guys head back with me a few days ago and check out the progress on the pond and water pumping project and the back clay track that we're starting to resurrect for karting next year. All right, it's not sprinkling too bad out here, but the first thing I'm gonna do is get the pump running so that I can run in the background, and then I'm gonna hitch up the camper. And just look at how super saturated this is, and you know what? This is actually a little bit better. This is a lot better than when I was out here a couple days ago. Going home? This is actually better than when I was out here a couple days ago, so that water must actually be leaching back out into the track. So that's good, and check out how low the water level is now. I mean, you gotta think, the water was all the way up to about right there, you know, somewhere's in here I would imagine. And at this point, oh, even our second pallet is dry. This is gonna go down really quick. I'm gonna have to move this again. Our suction hose is pretty shallow. Anyway, this little stand is almost exposed at this point, which is new. And looking back this way, I mean, the water is all of 4 feet down, you know, 4 to 5 maybe, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I gotta fill up my little generator, and we're gonna go ahead and start working on this again. So I do see some more tires down there, at least 1, but got 3 out in the pipe, but there's probably a bunch of junk in there, so regardless of what happens with this track, this is going to go back to more of a clean, you know, water base. If it becomes a pond again or whatever, we're gonna get all the junk out of it, which is actually a big deal. So it's kind of cool as a pond, but at the end of the day, it's a lot better off being a racetrack again. So that's about it. That pump's gonna run for a few hours today, and we're gonna go put them signs together, then hook up the camper, fuel it up, and get it parked for the event tomorrow. All right, next up, we are going to mount our new signs. So my buddy Andy here made these with his family. My sister designed and printed the signs, so we got a few to put up. Alright, you get the idea. So we got a tech sign, restricted access, and a couple other ones, but that'll be the idea. Well, that's better. It was kind of becoming a pain to mow around here because more trees have kind of sloughed over the summer, and I got a nice hedgerow going now, I guess you could say. I went all the way up to the front of the track and I took down a couple of the big ones that are actually leaning over the entrance road, so I'm getting ahead of problems, you know, come the day of or a track day or whatever. You would hate to come out here in the morning and find out that one is downed, you know, between when you were here last and the track day, which would be a bummer. Well, anyway, I am pretty much done for the afternoon. I'm gonna let the pump run for a couple more minutes and spend the day out here tomorrow. I think my buddy Jake is gonna swing by from about noon on, and he's gonna help me out get set up for the following Saturday, which is 2 days from the time of filming this, for the first ever rally to leave from the Twin Ports. Jake and I kind of organized an impromptu rally, and we're gonna go from here. We're gonna do a track day in the morning, and we're gonna end up in Trigo, Wisconsin at Heartwood Resort, and it's called the Black River Rally, namesake of the track, of course. But looks like right around 35 people are gonna attend. Probably less than half of that are going to be driving tomorrow on Saturday during the day. Probably somewhere around under half of that are going to be driving during the day on Saturday, or right around half, maybe 15 or so. And yeah, it's going to be a private track event. We're going to end up all spending the night together at this nice resort down in Trigo, Wisconsin. And it should be a good night. We're going to have a pretty nice catered dinner and private bar, things like that. So we're trying it out. It's a private event. I shared it on my personal page or whatever, and got a lot of people signed up and paid up, and I booked all the rooms. I think we got 17 rooms booked and paid for, so we're gonna go ahead and do that this weekend. It should be pretty fun, but that's all for now. I'll see you guys in the next segment. So if you're just tuning in, this is the second racetrack out at Black River Motorsports Park. This is actually one that had been in operation back around 2010. It was a very well-known and fast go-karting track in the upper Midwest. And what we've been operating on for the last year or so has actually been on the asphalt track up there, which is also a karting track that we've repurposed for autocrossing. It's worked very well. But that is neither here nor there. My buddy that's been helping me do this pumping project did find the sump basin in there. There's a sump basin, that's how they pumped water out of here, and they could retain a certain level of it. But what I've got to do is go put my muck boots on and pump it one more time. We're going to get the remainder of that water pretty much out of there, and I think at this point it's dry enough that we can walk out there with no problem. So what I'm going to do is put my muck boots on, head out there, fire the pump up, and see what we got. Well, a couple weeks ago, there was about 6 feet of water down in the middle, and it's a little soft here yet, but it's starting to dry out. So, might walk up a little bit higher, but it's actually starting to dry out pretty good, which is good. It's gonna be pretty sticky in the middle. I'm on my way to go put some fuel in the generator, and let's do a little track walk. Get you guys set up, and I'm gonna go fire that pump up. Wow, this gets just nasty. Jeez. Wow, this is full. Alright, well, it's full, I guess. Just nasty stuff. This clay is the worst thing ever. But anyway, we're discharging pretty good. Looks like another fallen board here. The prior people did pretty much the same thing by the looks of it. A lot of this water had actually sloughed back in off of the shoulder or bank portion of the track since last time we were out here, but we are pumping again to get it down to pretty much nothing. I'm cleaning my boots off quick here in the discharge, and yeah, we'll go from there, but we're pretty much on the home stretch for pumping. They'll have to maintain it. Well, for reference, the white marks on this pole are as high as that water was, and they're all of 5 to 6 feet. The one farther down has got to be 6 feet, and that's about how tall I am. So you think just a few weeks ago, if I were to stand out in the middle before we started pumping all this, I would have been over my head in water, which is kind of crazy. There's really a lot in here. We've pretty much been finding cones and tires that have marked the course throughout the duration of pumping all this, so things have been being exposed slowly. You know, the corner worker stand and all the stuff, they pretty much just got up and walked away from it. It's kind of crazy. Even the lighting over there, the caution lighting, they just walked away from it. And I don't really understand the thought process behind that. They didn't even try to clean it up and, you know, maybe sell some of it or whatever. They just let it go. But anyway, yeah, just a few short weeks ago, water line would have been all the way up here. But at this point, it's pretty much down to this last pumping operation here, and I'll have to continuously do it because it was a sump basin like it is, so it'll keep having to be pumped. But so we're up where the old flag stand was. I'm not quite sure what this was for, but they had the control, or the lighting control for the lights over there, and this is how they did it. But all that wiring's long gone. Somebody took away all that, and they had their flagpole stand and whatnot. But this is pretty much the vantage point that you would have had while they were racing. You know, they come around here, down on the racing surface. If I understand right, they entered the track off on that corner. They would exit over here. There was a scale up there, and this is kind of where they did the control for their racing and whatnot. So this may live again. We don't quite know yet, but we'll see. This will be its own big project, just like that was up there for the last couple years. But we're pretty much down to a fresh start, and that's good. So I'm gonna go make sure I can shut that pump off before it starts to cavitate and suck air. But yeah, I'm getting kind of the last little bit of water out again, and it'll keep obviously saturating down lower and lower towards the pump. But I wanted to update you guys and kind of show you where this was at. Well, as you saw there, the pond is pretty much as bone dry as it can be. Pretty much what we need now is time and sunshine to actually get the clay surface to dry out enough where you can start walking on it and then hopefully putting equipment on it. But that's a pretty big project to undertake. So anything you guys do to support, whether it's viewing these videos or sharing them, liking them, subscribing to the channel, etc., it all helps out big time with visibility on the channel, and in turn bringing in a couple bucks to help out with the Racetrack project. But that's about all I got for now. Got a couple buddies coming out, might do a couple burnouts and whatever. We're doing sort of a season closer sort of thing and hanging out and just enjoying the last of the nice days. As you can see, the leaves are starting to fall, colors are changing, and that's about it for good weather. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching along so far. There's more to come on the Racetrack for sure. This is far from over. The uploads have been a little bit fewer and farther in between than they have been in the past, but I've been busy with other stuff in life, and YouTube kind of takes a back seat. So that's about all I got for today's video. We'll see you guys in the next one.